Welcome to Now Serving, a Side of Therapy, your intro guide into the therapeutic world. Together, we'll explore various aspects around how to show up for ourselves and others by tending to our own mental and emotional well-being. I'm your host, Dalton Huckaby, a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I'm grateful you've joined me. Welcome to Now Serving, a Side of Therapy, a client's introductory guide into the therapeutic world. This week, we are pleased to welcome Makiko, who is a licensed marriage and family therapist and has been a professional counseling faculty member at personal counseling services at College of San Mateo for nearly 20 years. Makiko coordinates an internship program to provide clinical supervision and training to pre-licensed therapist interns, and she is passionate about increasing access to mental health services for college students who come from diverse backgrounds by offering non-traditional approaches to mental health wellness. Welcome, Makiko, to this week's episode of the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
So you work at the College of San Mateo for 20 years now. That's
almost
quite a long time.
19. One more year, and then I'll be 20 years old. 20 years old. 20 years over there.
That's a long time to see a lot of changes. I'm just kind of curious. Have you seen any changes, even within the mental health field and the services offered to students there over the 20 years?
Yes. So 20 years ago, 19 years ago, when I joined the College of San Mateo personal counseling team, I was the only full-time faculty member, and 2 people retired. So I was a replacement at the time. So I was actually one faculty. And I oversee from the beginning personal counseling, the intern therapist, and I was a supervisor. I was coordinating everything. I was doing a one-man show for quite some time, maybe more than 10 years. I don't know the timeline, but yes. But now, listen to this. Now we have 3 full-time personal counselor faculty, and we have 2 adjunct, and 5 of us are all licensed. And then we have 5 other intern counselors. So we're grown to 10, which is amazing.
That is amazing. Yeah. So I can imagine that's in response to the demand for services.
Yes.
So it seems like maybe more people are seeking support around mental health services, you think, over the past years?
Yeah. And, in terms of individual students who seek for individual counseling, numbers are similar, like a couple hundred students a year. Because since you have an intern, they're able to see them too, even almost 20 years ago, right? But we try to expand the services and not just waiting for clients to show up in the counseling offices, but we go out to the campus community and start offering groups and some outreach activities and some events and workshops, and just have a conversation with the students even in a lounge. So right now, we are able to sort of reach out to several thousand students. It's a duplicate, some people show up.
Yeah, so it's a bigger outreach. Yeah.
Oh, completely. So that's a huge change that I see over the past 19 years. I'm at the CSM, College of San Mateo campus. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and so it actually kind of makes me think about this when we think about how you support individuals within your line of work within the mental health field, right? It's not just one-on-one, right? You're saying there's this aspect of outreach to it,
right?
Which it kind of seems like a little bit of a game changer to encouraging folks to seek services or understand, people might have an idea of what therapy is about. You might even address some of that too.
Oh, yes, you're right on, because the students are great. They're fine. They go, these events, show up, fun, and they engage and talk about maybe stress or something, So students are great, wonderful. They respond so well to this. But director or administrative, sometimes I go, you're not doing psychotherapy. What are you doing? You're just doing something different. So we're still having a dialogue about what we really doing to connect with students and have them really understand what we do. So we're still having a dialogue about it. They're pretty good. They're, start to get it, but it was, really difficult at first to really show. And then we start to count those numbers, students, like a couple thousand or several thousand, I said, until we're able to sort of count those, they weren't sure what we were doing. Yeah, we're just wasting our time or something. We're having too much fun. It is fun, which is great. But yeah.
It's like, don't rain on my parade. I'm having fun with this. Right?
Yeah. So it was interesting because, we have to change the, how can I say that? Younger generation is great, but older generation, we have to sort of fight for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, things are always changing, right? And even within 19 years, right? Like that's like a couple generations, right? And so we can see like how social media is different, right? And the way people think about mental health in general is different, right? And people's willingness to seek services. So I think the great thing about outreach is like, hey, just so that they know that there's a place to go.
Yeah,
that's half the battle.
Exactly.
It sounds like to me.
Yeah. So what happened a little over 10 years ago was that we were able to receive the first mental health grant from the state. It was only
great. That's awesome.
Yeah, like only for a few years. It was sort of we have a better deal now in terms of mental health grant from the state, but back then it was sort of a trial. So we were able to establish the peer support service program. We call it mental health peer educators. So we are able to hire a group of students, and they go out to the campus community and provide support, peer-to-peer support, and try to split the word about mental health services and try to fight against the stigma of mental health. So we started to do that. I think it's 12, 13-ish. And around that time, we realized there's a nationwide service or program called Active Minds. So it was established in the early 2000s, and the founder's brother died due to suicide. So she developed this sort of on-campus program to really promote the mental health and fight against the stigma. So that program has developed over the years, and now I think they have 500 chapters throughout the U.S. and Canada as well. So anyway, so we discovered this program and joined, and I think we are one of the first community college to join that organization because they are originally thinking about 4-year institution. So we did that, and that was great because the mental health peer educators able to run this club. It's a student club, so they just follow. We have a student club advisor and then president, and we just follow this
all the roles. Yeah,
and we get some funding from school as a student club. So has been going on really, really well. Do you want me to talk about the peer educators program a little bit more?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Yeah, this aspect of peer-to-peer has really piqued my interest. Right.
And that really exploded in terms of accessing the accessibility for students to connect with mental health services. So what they do is they do everything. We have currently 5 or 6 peer educators, and they work 20 hours a week, and they talk about planning, how to coordinate the events, and they do a lot of time to talk about it, as well as self-care and self-awareness. They do training for that as well, and they do outreach presentation. They're going to the classroom to do suicide prevention workshops. And
wow, that's amazing. That's
good. They do, throughout events like a stressless week during the midterm or final exams, and they all have a special project. So each peer educator will sort of say, "Hey, I'm passionate about anime," for example, and how the anime will help the students' mental health. So they do their own research, they do the presentations, and they offer the workshop. This is just one example, but they are just amazing group of people, totally amazing.
That's awesome. And I like that. Like, I can imagine, again, I say this all the time, but I'm a visual listener. And so even when you're talking about the people going into the classrooms, I'm imagining people sitting in the classroom and the presentation being given, right? And so, but when I think about that, what comes to mind for me, especially around the suicide prevention, is people who are being quiet about that, who might be struggling with that and not know how to talk about it, or they might feel shame about it too, right? So they don't want to like talk to anyone about it. So that's great that this aspect of outreach, again, lets people know like, hey, there is help if you need it.
Right, because the suicide is the number 2 cause of death among youth in the U.S. So
is that right?
Yeah, it's a serious matter. Yeah, it's very serious. And then I did a little homework here. So,
great.
37% of college students expressed that they're depressed, and anxiety is about 32%. And among about 50% of community college students meet the criteria for one or more mental health conditions. Isn't that like crazy?
It's 1 out of 2 people.
Exactly. And then if we kept only individual one-on-one counseling, we were able to meet only a couple hundred students a year, and that's only 2% of our campus population.
Oh, wow. Such a small percent. Yeah.
I know.
But with this program you use,
right. So
you're able to reach more.
Yeah, because of that, we feel so strongly that, we want to, go out to the campus community. Yeah. And I want to brag a little bit about our peer educators, because they're part of the Active Minds, right? So they have an annual conference, and they participate. They usually go to DC, DC to attend the conference, and they got awarded a couple times as one of the outstanding program in the nation. So as I say, it's 500 chapters in the whole place, they got awarded a couple times.
You guys got special recognition.
Yeah. And then I want to actually, mention Gil Perez's name, because he's the one that coordinates this Active Minds Club and then peer educators programs. Yeah.
So kudos to him. Job well done.
Yeah. He's such a wonderful colleague. Yeah. So that's the sort of peer and, like a non-traditional way of supporting students on campus. And overall, the theme of services, mental health services that we provide on campus is a humanistic sort of approach. And we don't pretend that we know everything. We were very humbled by stories that, students share with us. And I believe that each person is expert of their own lives. So we might be expert in, DSM or some mental health stuff, right? But the life story, we are just here to listen and witness. And they have their own resources, strengths, but because of their life circumstances, it might be difficult for them to get in touch with that, or maybe it's shadowed by, struggles or mental health conditions. So our job is really to sort of, hey, look, slow down, look what you have in you, and try to rediscover what they have already. So that's my belief and approach. And then that's sort of that's how I might run my training program. So it's
I love that.
Yeah, it's a narrative. So,
narrative, you were saying, sorry?
Yeah, it's come from a narrative approach. But I don't call myself narrative therapist. It's not that. It's just the view of people in general, clients, students, my interns, and life in general. That's how I view people. So
yeah, that's so important, right? To kind of help people see, like, yes, they can tap into these inner resources and strengths, right, that they have. especially in the advent of Chat GPT and AI, where
Yes.
everybody's turning to, oh, what about this? What about this? Right? We were talking about this the other day with some other colleagues of mine, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, it's like, okay, maybe they still want to be able to use that. And again, we could have another whole session about this,
We have
right?
a training next week.
But the idea is that, hey, maybe kind of run the ideas, kind of think about it yourself first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And see what you
Mm-hmm.
come up with, and then you can
Right.
compare it to what they're saying. Like you don't have to get rid of it completely, just
No,
try to
no,
maybe kind of
no.
see what you can come up with first before,
Right.
and then you might
Yeah.
surprise yourself, right? With
Right. And let's say, like students or clients, they say, "Oh, this is the problem, right?" Or "I'm depressed." I'm anxious person. So they're all the labels that they come with, or label that they're given to them, right? In a society, family, what have you. And my approach is that, hey, look, you're a person dealing with this condition. What kind of relationship would you like to develop with this? Doesn't mean that you try to get rid of this 100%. Ideally,
because
maybe.
that's impossible. It's a part of
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, it might serve you. Because I don't know until I ask you what kind of relationship you have with that problem that you're presenting, and find a way that if you don't like the way the relationship you have right now, maybe you feel like you're controlled by the problem, or I can't find my voice. I'm totally bad, terrible, then, oh, so you don't like that. Then what can you see? What would you like to, what is your ideal situation? What is your desire? And so hopefully in that conversation, they rediscover their own voice. And then, hey, I would like to tell my problem this, oh, can you negotiate? He or she or problem might not like what you want to say, but try, give it a shot.
Yeah, if we can people can engage in this place of curiosity, right? That can
Exactly.
really go a long ways.
Exactly.
And what can prevent that, or some of these cognitive distortions that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
such as over identification, right? They'll say,
Right.
well, you said it, right? Well, I
Mm-hmm.
am an anxious person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus there is an anxious part of me. Those are two different things.
Very
So, like you
different.
said, if we can say, hey, if we can kind of get that over identification piece
Mhm.
separated,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like you said, what kind of relationship would you like to develop with
Right.
this part of you,
Yeah.
right? Then that helps us externalize, which
Exactly.
the idea is to give a little breathing room, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just to give a
Right.
little breathing room.
Yeah.
And to the point of okay, well, there's this anxious part of me. Well, yes, and there's also this creative part of you, and there's this loving part of you, and there's
Right.
these all these other parts.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that
Yes.
I think part of where
Yeah.
the hang up is, like you said, is like they just get so focused on, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
anxious or I'm depressed.
Right. Right.
And but that's just a part. There's so
Right.
much more
Right.
to us as human beings than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Sounds like AFI. But the beauty of this is that, so this outside noises, it's not just the noise. It's coming from like their own family system or society. It's beyond them. So that their culture might be interfering with what this individual wants to do, or it's all connected to, outside of you. It's not just one person, one private problem that they're dealing with. So that kind of tie into, earlier we talked about the, expanding on-campus services and not just waiting for client in individual small private conversation. So it's sort of a tied to that. So like when students say, oh, I feel, let's say pressure, or, just too much stress because I want to get into a transfer to a good school, what have you. And so that's a voice coming from where, maybe parents.
Exactly. Yeah. Whose
Yeah.
voice is
Yeah. Or
that, right?
maybe instructors, maybe academic counselor. And, so try to sort of deconstruct, to try to, break it
Yeah.
down
Tease it
to,
out a little bit,
yes,
huh?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing where in the part about that is that it's so subconscious, right? We don't
Yes.
realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I was talking about
Right.
this week with, is that the part of therapy is making the unconscious or subconscious conscious.
Yeah, be aware. Yeah. And then make things more interesting is that the cultural piece, right? So, since I'm, let's say, immigrant, I don't deserve this, or, I'm not capable. Oh, because I'm from working class. My family never went to college. My parents, I'm the first generation, for example, then I don't deserve this. I should be looking for a job instead of education. All that outside cultural message interfere with what they really wanted to do. So
Yeah,
really,
yeah.
can be a very rich conversation.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And this
Mhm.
idea of even kind of seeking out therapy too, right?
Oh,
It's like,
why?
oh, from a
Yes.
cultural perspective, in some cases,
Totally.
it's like, oh no, we don't
Totally.
talk about that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious, like, how do you this, because culture is
Right.
is such a huge part
Mm-hmm.
of services that we offer,
Yeah.
and getting meeting the client where they're at and
Right.
honoring
Yes.
them
Yes.
as a whole
Yes.
person and all
Mm-hmm.
these things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So how would you say this kind of like from this culturally sensitive approach,
Yeah.
do you kind of
Right.
approach your services and work with the outreach and one-on-one and such?
Right. Right. So, because, the 98% of the students on campus, they don't seek for individual counseling, right? So we physically go out to physically where students are. So we have a counselor at the veteran services. We have a counselor at the international student office. We have a counselor at the multicultural center, dream center. And also we have a counselor at, there's one more place I'm forgetting. But anyway, we try to really place people at the prize center. So that they're not there to, again, waiting for students to come up. They're in the student lounge, chit-chatting with students or student workers. And then they say, oh, by the way, I want to talk to you something. And, would you like to talk here or would you want to go to the room? Yeah. So we really show up where students are. And also, I personally, I have a strong passion about music. I'm a singer, and I also believe in a somatic work because the Eastern culture, body-mind connection is so valuable and so important. And then from trauma approach, it's proven that it's important to work with people with somatically as well. So I try to
Yes.
integrate that approach. So, for example, International Student Office, I offer a Move and Connect workshop. So I don't even advertise as a support group or no mental health work, nothing. Just move and connect. So what I do is that gather students, and students sometimes they don't just come, they're just hanging in the lounge. So they go, oh, come, we're gonna do something fun, and we do some clapping, rhythm, to some a fun activity together, and we vocalize, you say your name with the rhythm. So we do all kinds of activities, fun activities together, and students love it, or me too. I really enjoy this. This one actually, because I'm really fascinated about Peter Levine and Basov and their work, the trauma researchers, and they said human have used the dance and rhythm throughout the human history to really deal with community trauma. Could be individual, but deal with other community. And I say, well, I can do something similar. And we're sort of doing that already without knowing. We have, choral singing, we do music together. Music is part of our modern society as well. So therefore, I came up with this Move and Connect. But somebody else also doing this some beautiful job work that his name is by Keith Perry. He's a founder of Cross Pulse, Oakland-based nonprofit organization for body music. So he's a musician, and he does beautiful workshop, making circle, and he's like, okay, just follow me, just feeding the beat. internalize that in your body. And he introduced all kinds of little more complex movements as the workshop goes. So yeah, I use his technique to sort of incorporate of what I trying to do. It was beautiful. I just enjoy doing it. I actually tested out with faculty and staff first before I offer this to students.
That's a great idea.
Yeah,
And how'd that go?
right. And I rented it the theater space. It's just because I don't want to do it in a classroom or a conference because it's a job, work, So theater is sort of not like out of sort of outside of daily life. It's sort of special space. You got spotlight on, like some nice lighting. And we had a great time. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if somebody is good rhythmically or somebody might be struggling a little bit, but it's not that obviously it doesn't matter you do well or not. Just be in a community together and try to do that. And then the collectiveness is so amazing because people sort of look at each other. If you're lost, you just follow somebody anyway, and then somebody becomes spontaneous, and then other person, oh yeah, me too, I can do this. So it's become a collective experience. It's so beautiful.
That's especially important too, especially in a school setting, right? Or even
Mhm.
within the American culture where
Yeah.
it's more of an independent,
Right.
focused, and dominant, right? So to add this collectivist approach
Mhm.
through this creative arts,
Yeah.
right, kind of approach as well
Right.
is a great thing. And one of the recent guest speakers that I had, he is a dance movement therapist.
Yes.
And his name is Nate Silvera Pizik, and he has an upcoming workshop as well that he's, he works with groups too, but also some one-on-one. And so, yeah, so this is like, in the past couple of weeks, now we're getting this kind of influx of like creative arts discussion, which is a great alternative to talk therapy.
Yeah.
Right. And just to, like you said, even kind of getting more people together and involved.
Yeah. And actually, since I love music so much, I earned a second master's degree a couple years ago, and I did a mini research project that I distribute the questionnaire to choral members through the Facebook. So I reached like thousands of choral singers, I'm sure, but some of them, like about 50 of them, responded to me, and try to sort of see if the group singing, will help with your sort of a mental health. And majority of them, of course, said it has been very helpful. Yeah. So we know how it works. We know from ancient time. But yeah.
Exactly right. That's the thing, right? These aspects of music and dance being such an integral part of, kind of his, from history, right? And part of the overall kind of like cultural expression.
Yeah.
As well.
And then they feel comfortable joining, Of course, in this society, like performance anxiety, have to dance well or sing well, we have all that, unfortunately. But once students realize what we're trying to do here as a group, we have great time. Yeah, students are smiling, giggling, and staff member actually join us spontaneously because they just happen to be in the area. That's the thing. I love just being spontaneous and be part of community. Yeah,
That's awesome. It sounds like that's such a great aspect of your work, right? Is being able to kind of that reaching out and being able to kind of bring together people in this way.
Yeah, well, I'm having too much fun.
Is there really such a thing?
Yeah.
That's great. And so, what would you say? I know, like you said earlier too, right? You were thinking, or you were saying that a lot of college students maybe present with anxiety or depression, right? Or even how suicide is the second most common reason for death amongst the youth, right? And so, within that, I was kind of curious, are there some common themes that you find coming up for college students in your work?
Yeah. Well, depression and anxieties are always, common throughout my experience. But after COVID, isolation is start to, show up more.
Oh, I
And
see.
yeah, that leads to anxiety and depression. But sort of
Sure.
the underlying theme is the problem is the loneliness and isolation. And yeah, actually, a few years ago or something, I was talking with two students. They're like, oh, we have a friendship issue or relationship issue or something, and then they're talking about the fight, right? And I said, wow, sounds like very escalating. Do you feel safe? And they looked at me and said, oh, we are fighting over chat. Oh, is there such thing? So obviously they feel physically completely safe because they are not together. Why? Anyway, so yeah, and then I can't even imagine how to fight over chat because you're not engaged with people, you cannot see a person's face, you cannot hear the tone of voice. It's such a, how can I say that? It's split, it's
Yeah, it's like a distance, right? It's like,
distance.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was happy that they're coming to see me together in person, so at least I can see them and they can talk to each other. But that really told me that how much they are so accustomed to not to be together with people. That's normal. That's okay. That's part of their social life.
Well, even like when kids play video games now, I mean, might be showing my age, but I had an Atari when I was a kid, when it first came out.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so to think that like kids can talk, can message their friends
Oh yeah.
through the games,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Online.
Yeah.
And so I'll ask, sometimes I'll ask, oh, so are you like, have you been talking with your friends and, or hanging out with your
Yeah.
friends? They're like, oh yeah, through the game. I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay. So you're
Right.
hanging out and talking through the game,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
not in person. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a
Yeah.
new way of thinking. And it's not wrong,
No, it's not. It's just different.
no,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's
Adds a
different.
different dynamic to things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not to say that in person still, sleepovers still happen too, right?
I
Don't
love
get
in
us wrong.
person.
Right? Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
old
Kids.
generation,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
So,
a great point, this
yeah,
aspect of isolation and how
right,
that might contribute to some of these
right.
mental health concerns.
Plus this is a new phenomenon. It's a new thing. So as a human, we're still trying to figure things out how that works with us. Maybe kids think it's normal, but still, historically, this is very new. Yeah. So we're in the
Yeah, the way
process
we
still.
socialize and
Mhm.
the whole socio-emotional aspect of things as
Yes,
well.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
now people get therapy through AI, right? So how's
They
that work?
can, they can. Yeah, although there are some right, there's actually the BBS, just the Board of Behavioral Sciences, is now
Ah,
having their first live discussion about this very
good,
matter because it is so important.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 As I mentioned earlier, that we're gonna have a training next week about AI and mental health. Yeah,
Oh,
because
okay. And so that's going to be on your campus there?
no, it's from Pizzy. It was a free workshop, so I registered. So our group, the intern, we're gonna view
So you guys are
together.
going to attend the
Yeah.
workshop,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
you and
Yes.
your team. Uh-huh.
Mhm, mhm.
That's great.
I'm so curious because I'm kind
Hmm.
of in there.
Yeah, especially if we're talking about like continuing to try and meet people where they're at, like this is where they're at, right? So we got to
Exactly.
try to learn more about it
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
see, be able to kind of support them in that
Yeah.
way as best we
Yeah.
can.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. Even telehealth, that's something that we have to, really use our brain to adjust. And it has been, it has been great because we reach out to students who are not, typically might not come to see us in person, but they feel more comfortable, reaching our services. So that's good.
Yeah, even for parents, right? They might have a hard time getting, well, for
Yes, yes, yes.
elementary students, right?
Right,
Or
right. Mhm,
getting them to the office or
right.
whatnot, right? So it
Mhm.
definitely has its risks but it definitely has its benefits, but also its risks, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
like anything else.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Mm, mm. Well, and so yeah, so at ISO we support clients through the health plan of San Mateo.
Mhm. That's wonderful. Yeah, because many of our students have that insurance. Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So if you ever feel like your team is overloaded with,
Oh, we
with
are
too many
always.
people and need a referral source, we'd be happy to support anyone
Yeah.
that you find may need that.
Yeah, Dalton, that's the challenge we have because students feel comfortable on campus and they trust us, relatively speaking. But when we're time to refer students out, like right before the long winter break or before the end of that semester, um, it's difficult. They feel scared to go out, and our success rate is not that good. Any suggestions?
I see. Got it. Got it. What would you say they're scared about?
But they don't want to even call because, oh, like who is this? What is this? Or should I should repeat the same story again, start over again? That's another,
Oh
common
yeah, we
question
get
they
that a
have.
lot. Hmm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just leaving the campus and going to get some totally strange place or agency, that itself requires a lot of courage for students.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's actually why I started this podcast is for people like they
That's
have the idea, but then they don't know what to do, right? And
mhm.
so my earlier episodes kind of talk about like, okay, so you're thinking about it. What are some things that you can expect whenever you're calling to
Yeah.
schedule the appointment? Then what are some things you can expect in the first couple of sessions, right? Just to give people a general idea, because like you said, it can feel a little bit overwhelming, right? That's that first part
Mhm.
of actually picking up the phone to get more information or making an
Exactly.
appointment. That's that
Of
first huge
that,
step.
yes. Yeah, if it's appropriate, we actually encourage intern counselor to call, to help this client call together to
Oh, that's a
outside
great
agent.
idea. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That
Especially if
helps.
they're a second language, right? And
Oh yeah,
and they
that
need that
too.
support too.
That
Yeah.
too.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And once they have appointment set up, then they might feel a little bit more, you know, comfortable. Like, oh, I did the first part, and then what's the next step? Yeah, because
Hmm.
phone
Yeah.
call
So
is
it's just a matter of getting the
difficult.
ball rolling
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
working through some of those initial fears that come up for them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you and your team are there to support them and all your outreach services that you're doing, right? And again, using kind of this culturally sensitive approach towards offering some of these kind of creative arts and other
Right.
therapy approaches, right? To kind of be able to reach people and get to them engaged,
Mhm.
especially if they kind of may tend to be more isolated, right? Kind
Right.
of get them more involved in this kind of community setting. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. We're so happy that we're doing this for students and the campus community, faculty staff as well.
Mhm, and
Yeah.
continue to having fun while you're doing it, right?
Yes. That's the goal.
That's the goal. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, same, same. Thanks for tuning in this week. If this conversation resonated with you, follow Now Serving a Site of Therapy on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen. Be sure to click subscribe and leave a comment and share with others who may also enjoy. Check out our website at izotherapy.com, where you can contact us to be placed with a therapist who's the best fit for you.